the present tense, concord between subject and verbal. Present tense is a time or a form of verbs, and concord is something that we don't have to think about in Norwegian, but we do in English, and it has to do with the relationship between the verb and another word in the sentence that we call the subject. Now, in order to make sure you have the right form of the verb, you need to know what a verb is, and you need to be able to find it in a sentence. The verb is the action. Verbs are doing words like be, jump, love, or think. You may know this already, and you may already be able to find the verb quite easily, but the subject might be a bit more difficult. A subject in a sentence is the person or persons or even thing doing the action. So it's the person or the thing doing the verb. Now, it can be written like a pronoun, like I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. But it can also be a name or several names, like Eva or James and Adam. And it can be things, it can be nouns, so it can be a tree or a chair. Now I'm going to show you some examples afterwards, and we're going to practice how to find the subject in a sentence. Now, in this table you see a few of the most common verbs, like to be and to have. And as you can see, or hopefully you can see, they have different forms in different times. If you look at the verb to be, it has a different form for each of these four: I, you, he, she, it, and we, you, they. And I think you know this by heart, like I am, you are, he, she, it is, we, you, they are. But it's not always that easy to do this correctly in a text. Now, these both to be and to have are not regular verbs. That means that they don't particularly follow the rule on how they change. To run, however, is a regular verb. That means that it's the same form when you say I run, you run, and we, you, they run, but in the third person singular. That means he, she, it. It gets an S at the end, so it becomes he runs. And it's the same almost, at least, with do. It becomes does with es in the end, and that is the correct form of the verb when the subject is he, she, it. And we're going to look at a few examples now. Now, in these sentences, I've written the verbs in brackets or in parentheses, and I've written the form of the verb that we call infinitive. And I'm going to use the first sentence as an example now. When we read the first sentence, it says Martin and Ashley to share a flat. Now, the verb is obviously to share, but we need to have the correct form of the verb. Now, underneath is a sort of recipe on how to do that. And firstly, you have to find the subject. Now, who's doing the action? Who's sharing a flat? It's easy to think that it's just Ashley, because she's right in front of the verb, but actually it's Martin and Ashley. It's the both of them. Now, if we were to use a pronoun like I, you, he, she, it, and so on, instead of saying Martin and Ashley, we would say they. They share a flat. So when it's they, there is no S in the end. it's only Martin and Ashley share a flat. And in the next one, it's difficult because it is a question. You can see there's a question word like what, and there's a question mark at the end. What, and a form of to be, your problem. Now that makes it more difficult to find the subject, because in the sentence above you can see the subject is before the verb, but in this sentence it's actually after. The subject in this sentence is actually the problem. The problem is what, or your problem is what. And I've already said it's supposed to be is, because if you substitute it, if you put a pronoun instead of problem, you would have to use it. It is. And that's why you have to choose that form. And the last one is also a plural. That means more than one, because it says these lyrics. And they are the subject, because they are the ones that will be hard to understand. So that means it will be these lyrics, which is they, and the correct form of to be will then be are. So these lyrics are hard to understand. I hope you understand this a bit better, and I'll see you next time.